Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Melanie and I do a lot of videos, experience videos, story times, unboxing, review videos, concert footage videos, testing new products, cleaning videos, you name it, I've probably done it. Today's video is a experience video and it's one for the females, but I'm pretty sure there's some men who are going to watch it anyway because, you know, there's some of you out there who would watch it. So it's a smear test experience video and a lot of people are scared of having them done or don't know what happens. And I mean, I'm not going to go in the ins and outs of it because when you get a letter you do actually get a booklet that shows you how it's done or tells you how it's done. I don't know if you get it after your first time, if you get that, but I remember because I got so many letters before I had my first one, you do get like a leaflet explaining it. So the first time I had a smear test, I kind of had to get talked into having it done because I'd been getting letters since I was 22 because my mum had cervical cancer, and from what I've been told you get cold early if it's in your family. So I got cold 3 years early and I thought there was a mistake. I didn't realise that you get cold early if your parents have had it. Oh well, my mum, I don't think my dad could have cervical cancer. So I got cold for it and I kept like, they've made a mistake, my doctor's made a mistake, I don't know why I'm getting these letters, and I did ignore them for a very long time, years. And then eventually when I booked it, and I was nervous because, like, you know, no one really wants to have that kind of examination. I know it's not an examination, but, you know, no one wants to lie there and have someone looking at that body part and taking swabs, but that's what happened. And, you know, the nurse is always nice to you, well, unless you got a scary nurse. I didn't have a scary nurse at that time. And they try and make you as comfortable as possible, but if you're nervous, no matter what they say, you're going to be nervous anyway. And it's over really fast, and the first one I had was pain-free, it was fine. The worst thing for me was the wait, because obviously in my head I definitely had something wrong with me. So waiting for, I think I got the results after a week. I got told it was 2 weeks and I think I got it after a week, but waiting and then getting this text message saying everything was fine, it was hard waiting, but everything was fine. And then 3 years later I got a letter and I ignored it. Because of course I'm going to ignore it. I'm 100% going to ignore that letter because I will. And then my doctor brought it up because obviously on their screen it'll say when I last had one. And she kept saying to me, you've not had your smear test, will you book it? And I'm like, oh, I don't want one. She's like, but it's very important you have one. I'm like, yeah, I don't want one. That went on for a while. And then last August, September time, I went in with an issue in that area, not anything bad, it was like a burning sensation which could be cystitis or anything like that, and I mentioned it to her and she's like, I'm going to book you in with the nurse for some swabs so she can take some swabs. So I was like not impressed, but I thought, you know, she could have done it, but I think at that time she didn't know how I would react to her doing that because of stuff that's gone on in my past. I think she didn't know how I was going to react, because normally she would have just been, right, I'm doing it, and she would have done it and that was it. She would just do it now, but you know, she's examined me there since that time, but at that time she hadn't, and I think she didn't know how I'd react to her saying she would do it. So she booked me in with the nurse and I'm sat there, she's booking it in and she's typing, you know, they type notes for them. And she went, I've just put you in for your smear test as well. And I looked at her, and I probably looked at her like I wanted to kill her. Like, I probably gave her this really unhappy look. And she went, haha, we're sneaky then. And I just looked at her like, I probably can't even do the look, but you know when you're not happy with someone, you just look at them. And she just looked back at the computer and carried on typing, and I did not say a word to her because I just was not happy that she'd put me in that position where she'd put me in for something I didn't particularly want to have done, and I'd been saying for a good year to her that I weren't having it. Like, even the other female doctor told me to book the appointment. I was like, yeah, okay. walked out and didn't book it. So for her to do that to me, I weren't happy with it. But I wanted to have the swabs done because I wanted to know what the burning was. And like, I think I'd had water tests or done water samples. I think they'd come back clear. So I was like, I want to know. So that meant having to have a smear test as well. She booked me in, it was for the next day. And I got up the next day and I hardly any sleep. And then about half an hour before I set off, I got a phone call saying the nurse was sick. So then it got rebooked for a week later, and it kind of clashed with something else. So I went and changed it for the week after. And my doctor was on holiday at the time, and I had an appointment the week after that, which meant I had to have it done because she wanted the swabs back. So she had the results, so she could tell me there was anything wrong. Obviously the smear test wouldn't have been back by then, but I had to have everything done at the same time. So I went to it and had it done. And the second time was the one, probably the worst experience I've had with any kind of examination in that area. So not only could she not find my cervix, I have one, it was the most painful examination ever, from when she put the speculum in, or is that what it's called? It was absolutely agonising. I was in a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, and I started to feel extremely sick. And I thought, oh, it's because I've not had breakfast, because it was like a first thing in the morning appointment. And then the sickness continued, and she's still like doing what she's doing, because obviously she's taking swabs and she's doing the smear test. So I'm like, oh God. And then I realise it's the sensation I get before I'm about to faint. So I'm like, oh God, don't faint, don't faint. Like, I'm thinking, if I faint having a smear test, I'm going to look like an idiot. Like, she's probably going to tell everyone this story, how this person was having a smear test and fainted. So I'm like taking deep breaths, thinking, if she doesn't hurry up, I'm going to faint. I'm not going to be able to stop the faint unless she stops and pulls that speculum thing out. Is that what it's called? And luckily, 10 seconds later, she'd finished. And I remember after, and I'm there like led there taking deep breaths, and she's asking me if I'm okay, and I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I didn't want to tell her, like I was almost fainting. So I left and I went to the shop, and I'm walking around the shop, and I felt like someone was ripping my insides out. Like, literally felt like someone was ripping like my ovaries out or something. It was absolute painful. And I went to the toilet and I'd started bleeding as well, and it, like, this is TMI, so if you're a man you definitely want to turn off. It was like a dark brown sticky blood, and I'm like, oh my God. And the pain was so excruciating that I could barely walk. So I'm walking out the shop, and like I cut my visit really short to its shop, and I'm walking out and I'm like, oh my God. I literally felt like something was going really wrong, something was being ripped out of me. That's how it felt. And I have a strong pain threshold, so for me to like feel that strength of pain, oh God. And the bleeding continued for that day. It wasn't heavy bleeding, but it was enough, and it was like thick brown blood. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And the pain was horrific. I took loads of painkillers, and I was in a lot of discomfort for a few days. I mean, it did get better later that day, and the next day it was a lot better, but for a few days after I was in a lot of pain. And I did a lot of reading on the internet about it, and people having the same experience with it. And it just confused me how the first one could be pain-free, except for obviously it's not comfortable having that speculum put in. It feels like you're having something a lot bigger put in than you're actually having put in. I always like picture it being bigger than it is, and when they take it out and you see it, or you see it before it goes in, you're thinking, why does it feel like it's like 5 times bigger than what it is? But yeah, that second time has kind of put me off, and it was only last year, so luckily I've got like another 2 years to go. But I can imagine me like going, oh, I'm not having it done after last time, and putting it off again. But you know, we all need to have it done. And you know, yes, I was in a lot of pain, and to be honest, I probably should have gone back to the doctors. I should have rung the next day and asked to speak to the nurse, or rung back the same day and gone, look, I'm in this pain, is this normal? Because me being me puts up with a lot of things, and I, in hindsight, shouldn't have put up with it and should have just rung up and, you know, dealt with it. But because I don't deal with things and I hide things and pretend everything's okay, that's what I did. But don't let this put you off, because obviously it can find things early on, and you can stop things, or you can get treatment early on into illnesses of that area. So I wouldn't like I wouldn't say not do it, I'd say as soon as you get your letter, book your appointment, because you need to have it done. And the worst thing is the wait, because I had to wait again, and it actually took over 2 weeks, because like the first time, like I got it after a week, and this time it took over 2 weeks. So in my head I had cancer, like I had something, and I found out I didn't. But you know, just do it. It's over pretty fast, and yeah, you might have pain afterwards, but this thing could save your life. So definitely do it. You know, everyone needs to do it. And yeah, if you have any questions about anything I've said during this video, then please feel free to leave them down below. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell notification button to get an alert every time I upload another video. I'll be back very soon with another one. Thank you for watching, everyone.